This is my dad, standing next to his clipped-wing Piper Cub. I've had these photos for a long time, but I didn't always understand the stories behind them. My dad grew up in Millinocket, Maine, one of 10 kids. He started flying at a really young age, first helping his older brother with navigation, and not long after, he had his own license. His friends always said he became a flight instructor at 17, which, if true, would have made him one of the youngest in the country. But when I started going through his logbooks, I realized I'd never actually verified that, so that's one of the first things I'm trying to figure out. Over the past year, I started going through his old logbooks, trying to piece together what his life in aviation actually looked like. And the more I looked, the more I realized something. The stories I grew up hearing don't always line up perfectly with what's written down. At some point shortly after graduating high school, he made his way out to California, flying, giving lessons in a wide variety of airplanes, and doing stunt shows up and down the coast. There's also a story that he may have given lessons to a young Sam Walton, something I'm going to try to verify the same way I'm working through the rest of his story. Eventually, he came back to Maine, but even that part of the story isn't as clear as I expected. I'd always believed that he'd purchased a clipped-wing Cub before going to California, and that was what he used during the stunt shows. However, the logbooks don't show much about the clipped-wing Cub until after he returned, and only a few entries even mention it at all. So that's another piece I'm still trying to understand. What I do know is that he went on to study mechanical engineering at the University of Maine and started working for Great Northern Paper Company. And interestingly, his first project there had nothing at all to do with the mill itself. One of my favorite memories, I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and he told me to go outside and just keep looking up in the sky. After a while, a plane showed up overhead and started putting on a private air show just for me. That was my dad. Dad was a quiet and soft-spoken person. He never forced anything on us. Looking back, I learned a lot by just watching him. The things he chose to learn, even later in life, including becoming a helicopter pilot. So this channel, Cub to Commander, is really about piecing together his story. What actually happened, what changed over time, and what I can still learn from it today. And the more I look, the more questions I seem to find. And I think there's a lot more to uncover. Because some stories, even if you can't prove every detail, are still worth telling.